Hi friends! This is DaintyTank. Thank you for joining me today. This is Heart of the Woods, Part 13. Unlucky 13. But it's okay, maybe we're lucky. Maybe everything's gonna be fine. Maybe we didn't hear all of the heart-wrenching things about Abigail's death last time, but we did, and you should poke the Totoro to catch up with where we are. It's important. Upper eye card area. I'm used to saying poke the Totoro because if you go way back in my videos, I was up, usually in the upper left-hand corner. So Totoro over here was up in the upper eye card area, so it was easy to say poke the Totoro. Now it doesn't make nearly as much sense. But it's a lot more fun just to say poke the Totoro. So I'm not gonna stop saying poke the Totoro, you know? So, let's load. Okay, last time, heard all about everything going on with Abigail, and then we came across our poor dear friend. Oh no. She's bleeding and hurting, and it's magical pain. And then I left you on a cliffhanger with "but then." So, watch the cliffhanger, then come back here. But then, a tremor reverberates through the clearing. The ground shakes, and the snow is rattled from the branches. Fairy bubbles dance up and down. Abigail and I both face the forest in the direction of the sound, already knowing what's coming. The forest spirit strides into view, as tall as the trees, but no taller. What? What? I thought you were dead. What? You can hear the Foley effects. That was really cool. It brushes past trees with no notice of the branches and snow that it disturbs. As it draws into the clearing, it acknowledges us with a level gaze. It's been a while since Abigail and I have been by to see it. The deer looks up at the forest spirit with pained recognition, its eyes wide and breath shallow with pathetic relief. Abigail looks up at it too, tearfully, clearly glad to see it. Spirit looms closer. Oh, it looks like you can almost see like the burn spots. Its great presence alone, seeming to revitalize the air around us. My headache vanishes in an instant. The spirit stretches out one immense finger, drawing from the head to the tail across the deer's mangled body. The two lock eyes, and as the spirit retracts its hand, it curls a finger upward, calling Alma to it. In one motion, the deer's eyes roll backwards as life exits its body. Oh, I was afraid that would happen. At the same time, its spectral form, ephemeral and perfect, rises from its corpse. Boundless as in life, it gives us one last glance, and then springs across the fallen snow before vanishing into thin air, gone to join some spectral herd somewhere. Abigail wipes her eyes of tears and stands. She moves to the spirit's side and gently pats it.
Thank you. I'm glad you came.
Spirit's shoulders sag, its branches hanging low, and still, despite the slight breeze, notice what look like burn marks on its hide, where part of its wooden skin is blackened and dark. Without a doubt, it's Evelyn's doing as well. I'm reminded of an old man putting a child to rest. Sorrow and surely pain as well weigh heavily on it. I wonder how it knew to come. Did it feel Alma's pain? Or perhaps Abigail's? Bearing the emotional weight of the entire ecosystem, my heart aches for the spirit, as well as Abigail, who seems forever hurt by her powerlessness. The spirit and I meet eyes again, and I bow my head in reverence. I don't know it well enough to speak to it like Abigail, but for Alma's sake, I'm also glad it's here. It stoops down and picks up the deer's corpse. Blood now runs freely from the injuries, somehow not clotting, and I have to look away. Without a second thought of us, The spirit turns and leaves once more, going back to the way it came. Abigail and I watch it go. In all, the encounter couldn't have lasted more than a minute or two. Oh, long after the last of the footfalls have faded away, Abigail and I sit in silence. I hold her close until finally we return to the church. The rest of the day passes quietly, the earlier euphoria of our relationship being overshadowed by the fear of the shifting forest. Though Abigail is never more than an arm's reach away from me, and usually closer, she's nearly silent. Our headaches return not long after leaving the fairy clearing, stronger than before. Now some combination of pain and sorrow keeps us both quiet. At some point I reach for her hand out of habit. And that's what happens. My hand passes right through hers as if she isn't even there.
Abigail!
I saw the first thing that comes to my mind. With fright, she leaps up, searching around for the source of panic. Seems she didn't even feel it.
Look!
I reach for her hand, and once again it passes right through it. Just like when we first met, before we could even speak with each other. She understands instantly.
Oh no. Oh no. What's happening? Are you okay? Do you feel any different?
I don't know enough about magic to even start to guess why this might be happening to her.
Should we take you to the forest spirit? Or get you some rest? Or... Madison, it's not me.
What does that mean?
What? It's you.
I look down at myself. Sure enough, my whole body is slightly transparent. I can see the floor of the church through myself. Vertigo hits me and I stumble. Abigail lurches forward to catch me, but of course she isn't able to. Oh, that's terrifying. Dread fills my heart. Please no. Not again.
What do I do?
Slap my hand. Pathetically ridiculous motion. I can't even feel it. My own hand goes right through me. Shaky. Abigail stands up, holding her head.
Something's happening to the forest. This must all be connected somehow.
Ugh.
It's simply impossible otherwise. What could Evelyn be doing?
Ugh. I know that she has been involved. I don't even have to ask.
I have no idea. Nor do I know why she's choosing now of all times to do it.
To show that Morgan can't escape her destiny?
Do you think the forest spirit can help us?
Not sure there. We'll see. The forest spirit is all I can think of. The only ally that we have. At least it's a powerful one. Abigail looks away. I'm sure the spirit was her first thought too.
Perhaps. We can try.
Doesn't hurt. Fading into non-existence would hurt her. I would assume. I guess it would just suddenly just be numb. Oh, that's just creepy. Ugh. Wordlessly, she heads out of the church and I follow behind her. The happiness and joy that we shared so recently has evaporated entirely. I wish that life, whatever form it takes for us, could just slow down. That we could have more than a moment to rest. But I know that that's impossible while Evelyn is still out there. And I know that one way or another, we're going to have to be the ones to deal with her. But what I don't know is if we can even have a chance. The music cut was cool there. I appreciate good music cues like that. Just like...
Do you know what's going on? Has something like this happened to you before?
Props not there, honey.
It hasn't. This is the first I've seen of it. But I think I know.
Oh?
I think that the forest is having trouble keeping you here. The magic is getting weaker, too.
Oh.
So does that mean that...
Yeah. I leave the implication unspoken. Abigail halts in her tracks, facing me with a fiery determination.
No. I won't let anything bad happen to you. Not again. I promise, Madison.
Oh, I love your determination. Get it. I don't know if she has the power to keep that promise, but I can only hope so.
Okay, I trust you.
You kinda need to. I really do. Believing in Abigail is my only option. But even if it weren't, well, it's like she said, together, we can get through anything. Try not to think about it would mean if I'm wrong. I'm not even totally sure myself. Would I just cease to exist? Go on to an afterlife? Something else? None of these options were especially appealing, and I know that dwelling on them will only make me feel worse. So I just focus on the here and now and on sticking close to Abigail. Even I can tell that she's right when she says the whole forest is affected. Aside from the harsh winds, everything else feels subdued somehow. The trees don't seem to stand at all. The leaves and the needles look dull, even by wintry standards. What little sunlight there is feels dreary rather than bright. The light snow falls from the sky, but the heavy clouds overhead promise more, and soon. It occurs to me that we've been walking longer than we normally have to. Instead of changing the forest path to get us there quickly, we're following the regular route through the trees.
Hey, why aren't we taking the shortcut through the forest? Is it too sick to let us do that?
Probs. Wringing her hands, Abigail looks away.
It's more that I'm afraid to try. If I push myself too hard, then...
Good point. She leaves the consequences unspoken. I can imagine what they might be. The same as what's happening to me, or worse. Whatever exactly that is.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. It's okay. Take as much time as you need.
It's been so long since I visited the spirit. Our brief moment in the grove with Alma was the first time in days. I wonder if it's missed me.
Oh.
Of course it has. Who wouldn't?
Point.
You're far too sweet, Madison.
She nuzzles her head against me. The ankle's a little weird since we're still walking, but it's nice. But she jerks away like she was stung.
Oh, you're back!
Huh!
Back?
Her hand envelops mine, smooth and soft like always, rather than passing through me.
Oh!
Just because she can, she leans forward and gives me a quick peck on the lips.
I was so worried.
Me too.
I rub my arms and sides, making sure that I'm all there. Everything seems to be in order.
Hopefully it's permanent.
Hopefully.
Indeed. It's not too much farther to the spirit either. We should hurry.
Do. Sweat makes her brow glisten a little. She's definitely still feeling strained, even though I can tell she's trying to hide it.
Don't push yourself too hard, sweetie.
Sweetie. Your pet names here, Maddie.
I won't.
Still, despite her words, the longer we walk, the more visible a toll it seems to take on her. Her steps slow down, even though she wanted to hurry, and her breathing sounds labored.
Are you sure you're alright?
I'm fine. It's just...
Rubbing her eyes, she shakes her head. Right then, a pile of snow hits the ground a few feet away from us. Looking up, I spot a tree drooping, and its burrows angled down as if bent.
It's the forest again. Not me alone.
Ugh. She voices what I already knew.
Something terrible must have happened for it to be this way.
Since I'm unable to feel the forest like she can, all I can do is watch and worry.
Just now? Or at least today?
Maybe. Or we may only now be feeling the effects. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I can tell by the frustration in her voice that she's nearly as in a dark about all of this as I am. I have to remind myself what she knows. She only picked up by intuition and years of observation. I'm fortunate to have a guide as knowledgeable as she is about our situation, even if she doesn't know everything. I know when we're getting close to the grove of ancestral trees, from the change in the air and the way that the trees are larger than before, that profound sense of being watched and the primal energy is still present, but even that feels mellower. Or maybe strained. Through everything, there's also the acrid smell of smoke. Ugh. Suddenly, Abigail lets out a yelp of horror and dashes forward.
Abigail!
I follow right on her
Oh
heels.
no.
Doesn't take long to discover what she found. Where once there was a mighty tree, all that remains is a blistering and charred husk, blackened by flames. A painful buzzing permeates my head, nearly unbearable, and all I can do is watch in horror as the foreign sorrow emanates. Even I can tell that this is the forest crying out. Here, at the locus of its pain, even I'm affected. I can't imagine how Abigail must feel. Her fingers run across the damaged wood as if searching for a sign of life. I have to remember that this isn't just another part of the forest, it's its heart, its very soul. And for so long, it was also her home.
How did I not know?
You couldn't have known.
I've been so happy these few days that I must have blinded myself to the pain of the forest.
From behind, I wrap my arms around her, pressing my face against her shoulder.
I'm sorry. It's not your fault, though. Even if you knew, you couldn't have changed it.
No, you couldn't have.
If anything, we were lucky to have those few days.
Yeah. She clings to me. Pining? My arms around her in a tighter embrace. As I feel her cry against me, my own uselessness feels like more of a curse than death ever was. I wish there was some magic word or spell I could use to make things better. But all I can do is hug her tightly and warmly, and hope that I'm as much of a reassurance for her as she is for me. Then, without warning, I once again see my arms go transparent, and the feeling of Abigail against me disappears. Although this time, it's not as big a shock, it's still a reminder that we don't have long to wait. Abigail knows and steadies herself, alone.
Let's keep going. The spirit must be around here too.
Why doesn't it stop Evelyn? Isn't that its job as guardian?
It probably can't. I'm sure it wants to, but...
Yeah...
It relies on the forest for strength. So if the forest is weak, then it must be too. In fact, that may be Evelyn's intention.
Sinking feeling in my stomach intensifies. If she's even stronger than the forest spirit, then what hope do we have? I don't voice that fear, though. I'm sure Abigail's already worried about the same thing. It isn't much longer before we encounter the spirit. At first, we almost missed it. The forest spirit stands idle in a clearing as if lost in thought. It barely seems to notice us. When we approach, a slight tilt of his head is the only acknowledgement we get. It's small, smaller than I've seen it before. It's barely as tall as I am. The lights in his eyes, usually bright and terrifying, have gone dim. It looks more like the wounded deer from the clearing the other day than the being who helped it pass on. Just like the trees it protects, its branches sag and are bare. A few have jagged ends, as if something snapped them off. None of the wildlife that usually accompany it is around. Instead, it seems alone and abandoned. Though it hasn't been long since we saw it last, it looks significantly pained. I wonder if its salvation of Alma was taxing on it. Abigail cries out again, just like when we came across the burned tree. As English as she sounded then, this time it's even worse. I hang back as she runs to its side, not wanting to intrude on the private moment. She places a hand on its leg, crooning something that I can't make out, though the spirit tilts its head a little bit more to face her. The motion is stinted and janky. As exhausted and sick as Abigail seems, the forest spirit seems to have it 10 times worse. It makes a mournful sound, a deep and sonorous hum. It seems to echo and reverberate off the trees around us. Though I can't understand it like Abigail can, the pain and suffering in its tone is obvious. Abigail presses her cheek against it, patting the creature gently, the same way she sometimes comforts me. Look down at myself. Shimmery and transparent. I'm pretty sure we won't be getting any assistance from the spirit. Wave of nausea hits me as I ponder just what that means. I don't have any backup plans. If Abigail does, she didn't mention them. It is my only choice to just stay like this and hope my condition doesn't get any worse. Ever since I came here to the forest, it felt like I haven't had any control over my own fate, and I can't help but worry this will be the final nail in the coffin. Perhaps, literally. I fidget, adjusting my scarf and hood and glasses countless times. Abigail remains close to the spirit, pacing slow circles around it as she talks to it slowly. I wonder what she's saying. Sometimes the spirit will hum and make a gesture that could be a nod. All the while, I keep my respectful distance. At some point, I realize that it's snowing. I don't know how long it's been going on. As some of the snow settles on the spirit's broad shoulders, it doesn't look festive or pretty. It just looks pitiful. The spirit sags, bearing the weight of the world. Not sure how long I wait, but I don't rush Abigail at all. This could be the last opportunity she has to speak with the forest spirit, judging by its condition. I'm sure she's thinking the same thing. I flip between solid and intangible so many times I stop keeping track. Just watch the two of them. Finally, Abigail pulls herself away from the spirit. She approaches me, looking like she wants to say something, but doesn't her eyes say it all. I try to hug her, but she softly shakes her head and instead escorts me away, back into the woods. Though she never looks back, I do. But just once, the spirit's lonely eyes watching us go. Oh, my dear friend. You deserve all of the best. Heavy snow batters us while we walk. Though, of course, its chill doesn't reach us, our visibility is effectively zero. Too weak to even alter the path of the forest, Abigail clings to my side, trusting me to lead us back to the church. Although I maintain a brave face, I'm not fully confident in my ability to get us there. The blizzard calls to mind memories of the day I died. Although I don't let myself dwell on them, I'm not alone this time, and I have someone more to live for. Our journey is strenuous. We move at a glacial pace, but it's the fastest that Abigail can manage. Her steps are heavy and slow, and as much as I want to urge her along, I know I can't. I'm glad she's watching the ground at her feet rather than me, so that she doesn't have to see the worry on my face. Every time I start to think that I've got this whole ghost thing figured out, something new arises to complicate it all over again. This time I don't even have Abigail's experience to guide me. What happens if I lose the ability to walk all together, or to speak? What happens if the magic that keeps me here runs out? The occasional flickering of my body makes it a very real concern right now. Become the fairy queen? Maybe? It's my guess. That'll give you a lot of power. I hold tightly to her hand. The only anchor of comfort and security right now, but even that has grown clammy and cold. Swallowing the lump in my throat, we march on. Trees bow in the wind, trying to turn their backs against it. For the first time that I can remember, there aren't any woodland creatures out and about. No mice or rabbits or chirping birds, not even a panicked deer phasing in and out of existence like me. It may as well just be me and her and no one else in the universe.
Come on, I'm sure we're almost there. It can't be much further.
I say the words for my own sake as much as hers, though in truth I have no idea if I'm right or not. For all I know, we could be heading into a totally opposite direction of the church. Even then, once we arrive at the church, I'm not sure what to do. Will she get better with time to rest? Will I? Right now, the church is just the goal. It gives us something tangible to work towards. Something to keep our feet moving, slowly or not. That's a great way of thinking about it. Always do one thing at a time. Just one. Focus on that, get it done. And that is something that you can do, is get to the church.
I'm sure you're right.
Her voice is barely a murmur. I can only hope that she's saving her energy on purpose. I'm afraid to ask. I wonder how much of what's happening is by the mayor's design. While everything stems from her, it's impossible to know how much was deliberate and how much was simply a ripple effect from what she's done. I wonder if she even considers us a threat or gives us any thought at all. If she doesn't, then maybe we could use that against her. Of course, first, we have to reach a point where we can do that. During a momentary lapse in the blizzard, I'm able to make out a welcome sight in the haze, a warped and curled tree that I distinctly remember from an earlier trip.
Look, you recognize that tree too, right? I'm pretty sure you were the one who showed it to me the first time. We're almost home.
Abigail nods weakly, though she doesn't say anything. I squeeze her hand, trying to impact some strength into her. It kills me to see her like this, and I'd give anything to be able to help her.
Almost there, you've got this.
You're doing good, Maddie. Good job. She nods again, unable to do or say more. Except she doesn't stop nodding, like a bobblehead. I tug her along, trying to lead her through the rest of the short way, but she's rooted to the spot.
Listen.
Madison. And then she collapses, and the world goes blank. I jolt and choke on everything as I gasp for a breath that I don't actually need. Abigail has fallen to her knees. I don't even feel her hand slip through mine. I try to take a half step, cross, but the moment later it's black. It takes me a moment to understand, and I immediately wish that I hadn't. Oh my god, I just stopped existing for a second. Profound dread grips my heart. Looking down at myself once again, I can see right through my hand and arm to a snow accumulating below us. Not good, this is extremely not good. Collapse to the ground beside Abigail, but at least of my own accord I try to shake her by her shoulder, but it takes several tries before I can maintain a form long enough to even touch her.
I'm sorry, Madison. I just need a little break.
With visible effort, she turns to look at me. I don't think she even realizes what's happening. But then I phase into non-existence for another moment. When I look back, horror is clearly etched onto her face. Finding some hidden reserve of strength, she lunges towards me and grabs my hand. Immediately, everything goes back to normal.
Madison, are you okay? Can you hear me?
I'm fine now.
I hold her hands a bit tighter to reaffirm it.
Are you okay though?
I'm just a little tired is all.
Abigail, are you basically keeping and anchoring Madison to reality right now by, like, instead of warping the trees around you with the force strength, you're warping the trees around you to maintain Madison? So I think that's what's happening. She forces herself up again, looking more than a little tired. Immediately, she sways and nearly falls, but I catch and steady her. She leans into me, and I pull her into a hug.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Gently, I stroke her hair. In truth, I'm terrified, but I don't want her to see that. It'll only make things worse. I guide Abigail over to a fallen tree where we could sit down, indifferent to the blizzard. Even though the church isn't much farther, I don't want to push her too much right now. I wrap one arm around her as we sit, and I hold her close.
Where can we go for help? Maybe if the forest spirit sees how rough it is for us.
But she shakes her head.
Believe me, it would if it could. But I fear that it's even weaker than I am right now. It's much more in tune with the forest than me, so it's suffering the effects even more strongly.
Yeah.
All of this because Evelyn killed one tree?
It wasn't just any tree. It was one of the ancestral trees. The oldest one. They're the heart of the forest. All of its strength comes from them.
I can't pretend to understand their importance, but I know that Abigail isn't exaggerating. Not at a time like this.
So what do we do? There has to be some sort of solution, right? Can we plant another tree or something?
Even as I say it, I know the idea is ridiculous. We don't exactly have the centuries it would take for a new tree to grow up as big and strong as the one that was killed.
The forest spirit is supposed to become the next one. All of the ancestral trees were once spirits like the one you've met.
Oh.
What's stopping it? The mayor?
Her hand clutches around my shoulder, where she was holding on tightly.
That's right. I hadn't even realized.
Realized what?
Groaning, Abigail sits up straight. So long as we're close like this, it doesn't look like I'm able to maintain my... It seems like I'm able to maintain my physical form, because you're feeding off the energy from Abigail, is what I'm guessing.
This spirit can't pass on its own. It needs the help of the Fairy Queen. That's one of her duties to the forest.
But there's no Fairy Queen right now.
Maddie?
Yes, which means that there's no one to complete the ritual.
The rest goes unspoken as we both come to the same realization. An awful one.
Madison.
I know. There aren't any other options, are there?
None that I know of.
Close my eyes and take a deep breath, heading off the wave of fear that I know is coming.
I'm sorry, again.
It's okay. You don't need to apologize. Really.
But...
Taking both her hands in my own, I turn to face her, understanding her eyes close halfway as her lips part to meet mine. Part of me wishes I could spend an eternity like this, together, warm, with the woman I love. But even that isn't an option anymore. Our kiss ends far too quickly, although I'm not sure if it could have ever been enough. When we part, there are tears on Abigail's face. I'm not sure if they're mine or hers.
It'll be okay somehow. I know it.
I'll be with you, no matter what.
Good.
I know. Thank you. Seriously. I couldn't do this without you.
I love you.
Oh.
I love you too.
As one, we turn and face the forest again, putting the church behind us. Resigning myself to what comes next, I point in the direction we need to go.
Let's go visit the fairies. I'm sure they're still looking for a new queen.
Yup. Once again, we reach the grove, where the fairies nest. It occurs to me that it is the only part that seems unaffected by the forest sickness. Trees are just as vibrant as ever, and the pond just as crystal clear. We stumble into the middle, near the shore of the pond. Abigail takes several woozy steps, and I hold her shoulder to keep her steady. Then I flicker, and she starts to fall, barely managing to keep her balance. Forget days or even hours to find another solution. We might not even have minutes.
Hello?
I call out, a bit surprised that none of the fairies have come to greet us. I watch the trees, listen for the buzz and flutter of rings, but remain still and silent.
Hello? Fairies!
Feels a little absurd and on the nose, but I don't know what else to say. There's no response.
Please, we need your help!
Might as well be shouting into the void. It's not even a single rustle. I noticed that the birds who used to nest in the bushes seem to have abandoned this place. Tendrils of fear creeping through me. Both the fairies are gone too.
Madison.
Oh no. I turn towards Abigail, but she's not even looking at me.
Madison.
She just murmurs my name over and over. I steel myself and face her. And face forward for her.
If you can help us, I'll find you a queen. Even if it has to be me.
My voice sounds stronger than I feel. There's no reaction. My heart pounds, feeling like it's going to burst out of my chest. Seconds pass. Nothing. Besides me, Abigail has fallen silent, swaying on her feet, but looking as if she might collapse. All of her trust and hope has been placed in me. I can't let her down. I won't let her down. Just as I gather breath to yell again, I start to hear a faint buzzing sound, deep in the trees. Something flickers, far away, but getting closer. I realize it's many things. Tiny lights spark to life, woven throughout and across the trees like Christmas lights. Those and the growing buzzing herald the arrival of the fairies. They burst from the trees as a swarm, nearly enough to darken the sky overhead. Like before, 3 break apart from the rest and swoop towards us. Hey! I recognize them as the 3 I spoke to before, the ones I named Hi, Anon, and Frio.
You're back! To be queen? We've been waiting.
They watch inquisitively while the rest of the swarm hover overhead. It isn't what I want. I still barely know what being a queen would entail, much less a fairy queen. All I have is one short vision. But it's not like I have time to research or to learn. That's not enough time for anything else. It's this or disappear forever, and leave Abigail to whatever fate she's suffering. Of course, that's not an option, and I'm even willing to consider. I put on the sternest face I can, and lock eyes with the fairy in the middle.
Only if you can help us.
Wordlessly, the 3 fairies dart forward, inspecting Abigail and me. They communicate silently with each other, leaving me to wonder what they're saying and thinking. A minute later, they return to their position in front of my face.
Name your terms.
Name your terms.
But are you sure? We think we know.
If you make us human again, and stop whatever it is that's happening to us,
Make us human again.
then I'll make sure you have a queen. Whether it's me or someone else.
A queen! Who else could it be? We've spent so long looking. There's not much time left! For you or for us!
Ooh.
Wait, what do you mean? What are you running out of time for?
She'll make her move!
Ooh.
Haven't you seen? The moonsick one.
Moonsick, there's that word again.
Moonsick one. You mean Evelyn?
Evelyn. A human name. It must be her.
I don't fully follow, but there's no one else that they could be referring to. There's so much I want to ask, but can't right now.
How long do we have?
Until the moon is at its brightest.
Which might be tonight?
That's when she's strongest. Will you be ready then?
I'll have to be.
I haven't been paying much attention to the moon, but I know that it can't be more than a week until it's full. Probably less. I really wish I had Tara's stupid shirts to use as a reference right now. Tara. In all of this, I hadn't even been considering that by becoming him again, not just a ghost, I'd be able to see her. That's at least one big upside, though. Although I don't know where we'll even begin catching up, since that's something else to be figured out later. I was about to say, don't worry about her. Facing the fairies, I nod.
Okay.
Do it.
We can start preparing. Are you ready? It won't take long.
Yeah. I just need a moment to get ready, too.
Good. Quite the interesting thing. The fairies fled off and rejoined the rest of the group, not bothering to respond. That's fine by me. Turn back to Abigail, who's been silent through the entire thing. At first I thought maybe she'd passed out, but instead, she's watching me with anxious eyes. So this was a lot. I'm gonna stop it here, because I need to, take a just drink and relaxation break, because I've been doing a lot for myself. As you know, and as you've heard probably, I have hit, so I need to take a break from reading every now and then, especially for more intensive games. So, stopping to take a break and relax my brain. I hope that you've enjoyed this. This is very interesting. Also, I don't know if you can see, but we're packing up things, so I'm stockpiling a lot of these videos for now because I'm moving, which means that there's going to be a whole new set in about 2 weeks. You'll see a new set pop up, but in the meantime, subscribe, come back, hang out, watch Maddie turn into the Fairy Queen. It's going to be very interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So, I love you all. I hope you stay safe, and I'll talk to you again here soon. Alright? Bye!